from Holbrook, Massachusetts. How's it going, guys? Great seeing you guys again.
Yeah.
What's up?
Thanks
Good to
for
see you
having
again.
Hey, stoked to be here.
Hope all is well. Let's dive right into it. So you guys just dropped a new song, Sweet Nothings. How's the response been to it?
It's been pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lately we've been doing some singles, and yeah, that seems to be like the trick for us lately. Just dropping a few singles and getting some play on the radio and whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty good.
How would you say the response has been compared to the previous stuff?
A little bit better. You know, it's a little bit the same. Like, we have like a niche group of people that you know, that we have a couple like people who are listening pretty consistently, and I think we're just getting more exposure out to like the non-USA audience. Like, I think we had like Helsinki, Finland at one point. It was like the top of our like listeners, oddly enough, and even to like I think there's a Chile too, right, guys? There's some other, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty good. We're getting our music and stuff out there.
That's awesome. That's always really fun to see, people from different countries and different states, and on the West Coast and down south listening to your music. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So for this song, who did you guys record it with, and how was the process?
So we recorded it with our good buddy Jamie Rowe. He's produced and mixed and mastered all of our stuff. And that song, Sweet Nothings, we actually had the drums for a couple of years now. We went in and tracked when we were tracking Esmeralda, our first single, after our 2 EPs. That was one of the songs that we had drums done for, and we were just it just took us a little longer with this one to kind of book things out. We had some things with the band, like John joined, and we were gigging out a lot, so we finally were like, all right, we have this drum track, we have this song, let's like finish it. So we recorded all of it at we recorded drums at Woolly Mammoth Sound in Waltham, Mass. And then everything else we finished up at the record company in Dorchester with Jamie.
Yeah, I think
how the process. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that one too. Like, it was a cool process, I think, because we got to kind of flesh it out, playing it for like since I joined the band, which is about a little over a year. Like, we've been playing that live, so we kind of we had the drums ready, and then we kind of went into the studio after playing it for a really long time and like being like, okay, because the song definitely evolved since when we started playing it versus when we were. So it was good that we had that time to kind of like figure out what we wanted to do, I think, too.
Yeah.
How has the crowd responded to the new song when you guys play it live?
That one was always a good one. I think like a lot of people like to jump around to that song, just because like the rhythm. It's not like a song that's like typical like fast Ramones-y type, kind of like our previous single, How It Goes. Like, How It Goes is like our previous single was kind of like a mosh pity song, and so people would get a little crazy. This one, people would like nodding their head more, jumping up and down. Sweet Nothings and How It Goes. Those lately when we play live, those have been like our like high energy songs on the set for us and the audience too.
That's awesome. It's all about opening that pit up.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Little two-stepping and windmills and spin kicks.
Yeah, walls of death, you name it.
Walls of death.
Yeah.
Crowd surfing, stage diving.
Yeah. I don't think we have any walls of death songs, honestly, but it'd be nice someday.
Okay, it'll happen.
Need some.
It'll happen.
We definitely need some.
Get some 7.
Well, you got my support. So how would you say the recording process and the writing process and all that, how is it the same and different compared to previous stuff, previous music?
So this one was a bit different in how we recorded. So this, John's gonna laugh at me. I was always an anti-amp sim guy. Always like, nope, I want loud ass guitars, layers of guitars with a tube amp, completely cranked, super loud. This one, there is still some of that like real amp sound in there. But we actually did use a fair amount of amp sims, and I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it sounds pretty sweet and pretty close to like what we kind of expect to get production wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good because it lets you kind of flesh out ideas when you're not in the studio. Like, right, we can record. I got a mini studio right now at home. We can record stuff at home, bring that to the studio, kind of like go through ideas. So it makes it a lot easier instead of having to like, all right, well, I got to go to the studio and I got to record this giant amp and I got to have all this setup stuff. Right, you can just do it 10 minutes. It makes it easier, I think, to do some stuff. And then you can always get that stuff in the studio when you go, but it makes the process easier.
Yeah. No, that lead part too. Like we originally didn't have that lead part written. I don't think, right? Before we even.
No.
I think when we first went into the studio with that song, it was just rhythm guitars. There weren't even any leads, and it wasn't until we.
that was like super last minute that we did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were doing that. It was me or you, Nick, that were kind of messing around in practice, like before we went back to kind of finish the song up. And yeah, we know that's an amp sim though. That whole lead part, it's an amp sim. I think it was like a Neural DSP. It wasn't the Soldano one, but it was. I have to ask Jamie; he would know. But yeah, no, I think it sounds great.
What would you say your favorite and least favorite thing as far as the whole writing and recording process goes? What is something that you struggle with the most, and what is the thing that what would you say you do the best at as far as all that goes?
Yeah, I'd say I'll start with the negative. Doing vocals, if you really want it to sound right, you should do it in the studio setting, I think. But for me, like how I've learned to get a good takeout is you kind of got to sing things over and over and over again. So we'll book like some hours with Jamie, and I'll literally be singing the same line, probably 30 minutes to an hour per verse and chorus. And we also double the vocals. So the vocals, and it's a physically demanding thing to do for that long and try to keep it consistent. I think it's like one of those, like, it's a necessary step in the recording process, but it is kind of like, even for Jamie, when we get the takes, he's piecing together takes, and he's chopping up parts as well that he likes. Because, you know, when you sing a song, maybe you're not exactly hitting the note that like you typically would hit. Maybe you hit a note that's a little bit higher or a little bit lower, or sing the melody or say the words in a different way. And sometimes it's like, hey, wait a minute, you did this 3 takes ago and it sounds better. So that's like the bad part about it, where it's like it's time consuming, not the most entertaining in the process. But I think for me, like the best part of the writing and recording process is finally getting all those ideas out and have a near completed product that it's like, oh sweet, like this is the song we wrote, and everybody had these great ideas in their heads, and now it's finally like working together in unison, which is pretty sweet. How about you guys? What do you guys think for your best and worst part of it?
I feel like I got one that could be like it's kind of like a little bit kind of branching off what you said, Alec, is like, you have so many different ideas and stuff. It's always hard to like pick and choose what parts that you want to put in a song. Like, oh, that sounds good, but it could also sound good in another song. But then, like you said, like once it all comes together, it's wicked cool to see. everything come together and how it sounds and stuff. Especially just like if we're all in like the studio, we're all just hanging out and writing parts. You know, John might have a good part on a guitar that works
Right.
perfectly for the song. So it's cool to see everybody's ideas and stuff.
Yeah, especially lately too, like the demos we've been working on. Like I think John, you laid down like a lead guitar part, and I mean, John's a bass player, but I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, we might need you to do the solo on one of those songs because you're just shredding on guitar on that.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think the hardest part for me, like in this, because we've been writing new stuff too. The hardest part for me, because I came from like a different band, a little more like pop on the pop side of pop punk. So
Right.
it's been a big transition for me to like or when I write stuff, making it sound like a Condition Baker song and not like not like a John Russell song, right? Like what would AJ or Nick or something like that write here, right? So it's kind of it's a hard process to kind of relearn some of that stuff, but it's been really cool and like honestly like pretty musically rewarding because I'm doing stuff that I normally wouldn't do. So
Right.
that's like the hardest and also coolest part of this process.
That's awesome. So what bands would you say influenced you the most when it came to putting the song together?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the three of us, we all listen to like so many different bands. I mean, I think like our main influences are, obviously like Green Day. We always get compared to Green Day, and it's cool. They're one of our favorite bands. I think Alkaline Trio and Jawbreaker, we sound a little bit like, I mean, especially me personally, Jawbreaker is definitely huge, just from a songwriting perspective. Every lines I try to write, I try to put a lot of thought into, try to make it, the best group of words I can kind of put together. I mean, I'll say for Sweet Nothings, the band that really I took a lot of influence from when I originally wrote it was actually the Menzingers. I was getting into them a bit when we were recording our second EP, and yeah, I definitely think. What about you guys? What do you think? Because I don't know, we have we have so many different tastes. Like everything we like essentially somehow gets, in there somewhere, I think.
It is funny that you say the men's singers because I mean to me and a couple other people that have said this to me, Sweet Nothing sounds like you could put it on Nevermind and it would fit perfectly. Which is where kind of I mean for me like Nirvana, like it has that like grunge feel to it, like Alkaline Trio, stuff like that. Just like that heavier, slower stuff. I mean maybe even a little STP in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say all those, honestly. It was funny because like we were talking about Alkaline Trio, and we play Weezer at shows, and we're trying to cut down on the amount of Weezer we play because it's getting absurd. But my mom put Sweet Nothings up into like her work Slack, and they're like, "Sounds like Weezer and Alkaline Trio." And we're like, "We gotta beat the Weezer allegations, guys. We can't keep doing this." But yeah, I mean, honestly, anything '90s, I feel like is like a huge like '90s punk, '90s grunge. Any of that stuff. Like I'm a huge Third Eye Blind guy, so like that kind of influences stuff. Yeah, pretty
Even
much.
the shirt you're wearing, 4 Years Strong. I think some of the newer stuff, a little bit of that's getting in there.
Worcester boys, yeah. I'm from Worcester area originally, so it's like impossible not to like 4 Years. I think it's a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't like 4 Years Strong, then I would definitely worry about you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's funny that you said that because the previous stuff, whenever I listened to it, it always made me think of Green Day or Jawbreaker. The newest song, I'm gonna have to give it a few more spins. Right now, I can't really like put a finger on like who it reminds me of. But yeah, I mean, regardless, it's really good, and you guys should be really excited.
Yeah, thanks, man. I guess that's a good thing, right? In a way, it's like unique to us.
Yeah. It shouldn't remind you of someone else. It should remind you of Condition Baker, right?
You guys have your own sound.
Yeah.
Condition Baker sound.
That's the goal, right?
And now other bands are gonna, try and be like you guys.
I hope so.
I hope not, honestly.
Yeah, actually, because then we can control the market that way. If we're only people making that type of sound,
Mhm.
you know.
So
I
what
was
are
just saying
the
commercials are bad, but
Yeah.
whatever.
so what are the future plans for you guys? What do you have coming up?
So yeah, we do have a lot of new songs in the books. And we're still trying to piece together a plan with those new songs, whether we want to stick with the singles, do a couple EPs. I mean, I want to say an album, but they're just so long and expensive to make. Definitely new music for those listening. We definitely have plenty of new stuff out there that's going to be getting dropped within the next year or so. And yeah, I mean, just playing shows. Hopefully soon we can kind of book a little local tour, maybe next summer. If you guys are down, we could try something like that. But yeah, I mean, we're always writing. So for us, it's just writing, recording, kind of rinse and repeat.
Do you think you guys are gonna keep recording with the same guy? Are you guys gonna switch up and go to somebody different?
I think definitely record. So I mean, for us, what we're gonna do is definitely drums and vocals are gonna be where like we're gonna invest in our sound. Like I feel that with these demos we just did, like I don't know, we did most of that home recording through like the tools we have, and I think it sounds great. I mean, this is obvious stuff that you can't replicate outside a studio, but I don't know. I like Jamie. He's always made us sound 10 times better than we actually are. And I think he's got great mixes and masters as well. Yeah, I don't know. Jamie's like, and we all trust him too. And he's always super involved with our stuff, and he cares. He's not just a guy. He's just kind of press and play. All right, you guys record whatever. And then,
We've had times where Jamie will just drop an idea out of nowhere and it'll make its way into the song out of nowhere. I mean, like AJ was saying, he's so helpful with everything.
Yeah, and it's another thing too. Like I know with Jamie, like if we go to record drums or vocals, like I know it's going to be done right. Whereas, like if we were to do it with somebody else, you don't necessarily know how much expertise they might have, and I mean, there's a lot of people out there. They're like, oh yeah, like this guy helped us record our band, and you guys should check him out. And then I'll go back and listen to them, and I'm like, ah, damn, like you guys should have maybe reached out to somebody, or instead of like trying to do it all on your own, like you can probably get a better production value if you have somebody. An outside set of ears, I always think is important, because when you're in a band and you're writing, and even with mixing and mastering, there's like always a bias. Whether like if I'm a guitar player, if I'm doing my own mix, I might like the guitars might be way too loud. So in my opinion, I always think it's good to have a good set of outside ears outside of the band, someone unbiased but also cares. And I feel like we found that with Jamie. He's done since our first EP that me and Victor dropped together in like 2018 to now. He's been involved with all of our recording, and he does a hell of a job.
That's awesome. Yeah, the producers, the worst producers are the ones that all they care about is like money and just like making the music sound better, and then that's it. They don't give you like any input or like constructive criticism, and ones that that are not going to grow. Like those are the ones you gotta stay away from.
Yeah, yeah. They're just cashing in, and or like people like on Fiverr. Like, someone mix and master my song for like $15. some people do that. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna get a good product and with that. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you want your music to sound like garbage, it's like Be My Guest. But I mean,
Right.
I personally would like want it to be as good as possible.
Definitely.
But whatever floats your boat. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on again and chatting up about the new song. Like I said, it's really good. You guys should be really proud of yourselves, and I'm really excited to see what's next for you guys. And so, for the people that are going to watch this later on, where can they find your music at?
We're everywhere. We're on Deezer now and iHeartRadio, so you can catch us there. No, I'm kidding. Spotify, YouTube Music, iTunes, wherever you stream, we're there. We're also on Bandcamp. If you really want to help us out and help us record new music, we got T-shirts there. We don't have any CDs or cassettes yet. We have to up our merch game a little bit. But yeah, Bandcamp there too. If you really want to support us and not help Spotify make a killing off us, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to branch away from Spotify as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel you. That's where CDs come into play and vinyl and all that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having us.
Of course,
Thanks for
anytime,
having
guys. Of course. See you later.
See ya.